Hello, welcome to the Healthy Commute. I'm Dr. Dan. Today we're going to be talking about the top supplements that you need as an essential for overall health and wellness. Welcome back. I'm with Dr. Pascal. Welcome to the Healthy Commute. Today we're going to talk about supplements, and I think this is one of the, a topic that a lot of patients are asking about in terms of, okay, doc, what else can I do to enhance my overall health, or what else could I do to help with helping my body function as best as it can?
Absolutely, and I think some of this has gotten to the point where it's almost common knowledge, like you hear a lot about these, but sometimes we don't know why, we don't know the details behind them, so we're going to just try and clarify the topics or some of these key supplements, why you should be taking them, when maybe you should be taking them, and what the role is.
I guess first we should start off with, that understanding of why do we even need to take a supplement to start off with?
Correct, and so that's kind of the bigger picture of modern, maybe agriculture, our food production, and what has happened to our food. So we've kind of deviated away from eating real whole foods to eating a lot more packaged, processed foods, man-made things. Okay, and in those man-made processes, obviously, we lose the antioxidants, the vitamins, the minerals, the nutrients. We lose the good things in the food. Maybe not all of them, but we lose a big portion of that, right? And then when we look at agricultural practices, less resting of the soil, fruits and vegetables are picked faster, pesticides. And so you're getting lesser quality foods that don't have the same richness in nutritional quality that maybe they used to, or if you find, soils where people are maybe growing their own fruits and vegetables. Right. So maybe if you're living on the fat land and you are growing your own vegetables and you are eating, your local stuff and you are catching your own fish or flying them in from BC, maybe you can get this all through your diet, but most people are going to be lacking because of just the reality of the world we live in with nutrition and food production.
So first of all, it's understanding the reasons why.
Yes.
But when we talk about supplements, the real, number one goal would be to still take as much as you possibly can from your diet. The reason why, let's say, when we talk about, a vitamin K or magnesium or whatever these specific vitamins are, in nature they don't come just on their own.
Right.
They come as a package in these foods, and a lot of times we don't just need one, we need a combination for the body to properly absorb and use that vitamin. So ideally, yes, fresh leafy green vegetables, all those great things have everything together, so start there.
Right.
So now today we're going to talk about, so try to do your very best. Even at that, we realize that there may still be some holes in our diets that we could fill through supplementation.
Correct. So these supplements that we're discussing are essential because they should be essential in our diet, right? So these are essential supplements that people should be taking daily based on the fact that we're not getting it in our diet. Now, having said that, anybody who's out there listening to this, of course, always check in with your healthcare professional, because everybody's situation is a little bit unique. These are patterns that we see in society as a whole, but we're not giving any individual person here healthcare advice. When it comes to this stuff, you have to make sure you check in, whether it's your doctor or another healthcare professional that leads you through this stuff, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's dive into the three biggies that everybody seems to be, or most people seem to be quite deficient in North American society. Number one is called fish oil, right? Or omega-3s.
Yeah.
Okay. So omega is really just a fancy word for a type of fat that we find in our diets. And there's a healthy balance between the number 3 and the number 6. Omega-3, omega-6. Omega-3 decreases inflammation. Omega-6 is or increases inflammation, right? And so when we have too much 6, not enough 3, we have what's called a lot of bodily inflammation.
So why would someone have an issue with that right now? Where would they get all of this omega-6 from their current diet?
Well, omega-6 is found a lot in seed oils, so cottonseed oil, with some of the other ones, canola oils, vegetable oils, high in peanuts, some found in eggs, but you're getting them mostly in seed oils, so a lot of grain products that we eat, right? So they're very high in grain products. And so we consume a lot more of those than we do the omega-3s, which are found in high qualities in some nuts, walnuts are a source of omega-3s, and as well wild-caught fish, source of omega-3s, some flax seeds have omega-3s. So we do find omega-3s, but in like the prairies, more than on the coast, we're going to definitely consume way more omega-6 than 3.
And when you talk about those oils, realistically, it would be hard for someone to go through a day without taking in a lot of omega-6, because like when you think of it, anytime you're opening up a package, there's oils in there as a preservative to keep the shelf life longer. So they're in there. If you're cooking with it, it's in most of let's say typical, packaged foods. So we have to be really careful in terms of, if you're doing a great job on your diet, awesome, but even at that point, you're probably taking in some omega-6, so we need to work on that omega-3.
Very challenging, yes. And the reality is you could probably go through your day with eating very little omega-3. So a lot of omega-6, you can eat a lot of omega-6, but here, especially in the prairies, you could probably go your whole day with barely touching any omega-3s at all.
So it's something that we have to consciously try to do, right?
Yeah. So if we look at the ratio, the ideal ratio, would be somewhere around, like a perfect world would be a 1-to-1. So 1 omega-6 per 1 omega-3 in your body, right? And on the high end, they say 4 omega-6s to 1 omega-3. The reality is most people in North America are closer to 16 omega-6 to 1 omega-3.
And what would that cause?
Well, again, it's whole body inflammation, so chronic inflammation. We won't get into the details of why inflammation is good or bad, but when inflammation becomes chronic, it will elevate pain levels. It will perpetuate or keep these chronic pain syndromes going, right? And this is just a quote from William Davis, who's an MD, who's done obviously some research on the subject. He said, most modern people are boiling pots of inflammation, hot, steaming, churning cauldrons of disordered, chaotic, inflammatory responses. I, William Davis, advocate an intake of 3,000 to 3,600 milligrams per day of combined omega-6 fatty acids, which he calls EPA and DHA, right? Not necessarily fish oil, just those fatty acids which are known to be higher in fish oil, but it's those EPA, DHA that we're looking for to help balance out that omega-6, omega-3 relationship.
And that ratio is also extremely important for brain function, healing, immune system, things like that, right? So there's a lot of great benefits to a proper omega-3 to omega-6 ratio.
Yes.
So number one is definitely we need to take in a good quality fish oil, right?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
Number two,
vitamin D. So vitamin D is obviously essential in numerous things, including our immune system response. It's important in growing healthy bones. There are a number of roles that vitamin D play. Now, we're also deficient in vitamin T because, yes, we don't get some of it in our diet, but we also don't get out into the sun as much as we should, right?
We're not outdoors.
No, we have a big fear of the sun, right? We have a lot of research out there that maybe tell us that the sun will cause cancer. So people will, either avoid the sun at all costs, or when they do go out, they're lathering up with sunscreen. So we're not getting any absorbable vitamin D through the sun like we used to.
And we live in Winnipeg.
Yes.
So even if you're doing a great job trying to get a good amount of sunlight on a daily basis, realistically, by the time we're hitting September, October,
it's hard.
The sun is a lot lower, and we're not getting those proper, that direct sunlight.
Yeah.
And then even in winter, we're basically covered up from, we just have our face that's sticking out. So really, we're not able to absorb any vitamin D for at least 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So we definitely need, especially if you live, north of the Canadian border, you absolutely need to intake some vitamin D.
For sure. Yourself, probably the same, Dr. Dan. Like, I don't supplement too much during the summer because I try as much as possible to get outside for 20 minutes, half hour a day, right? On the weekends, maybe longer. But throughout those summer months, I will decrease my vitamin D intake because I am getting it naturally outside.
Yeah.
But September, October comes around, then it's every single day. I'll take my vitamin D and I take it with my fish oil.
Yeah.
So I'll typically take a spoonful of fish oil and I'll put a couple drops of vitamin D because they're both fat soluble, and I take them together.
Down the hatch.
So down the hatch, absolutely, right? And then this is from the Harvard Medical School Guide to Healthy Eating, okay? And this is by Walter Willett, another medical doctor, and he says that one rarely needs calcium supplementation if one has adequate levels of vitamin D, and that excessive calcium is actually a health hazard.
Okay, so the key thing here is I think a lot of people are conscious of the calcium, so I think a lot of times we over supplement with calcium.
Because they think calcium, bone strength, bone health, right?
But without that vitamin D, that's the key thing. Vitamin D is a precursor to make sure that calcium goes in the right place and is used properly in the body. If it's not, then that's when it starts to bioaccumulate in the body, can cause whether some different health challenges as it goes.
Correct. Okay, so vitamin D can be quite important for most North Americans who aren't getting enough sunshine. And again, if you're curious and you want to know, you can get it tested.
Yeah.
So, if we want to be specific and accurate with vitamin D, because I know some healthcare providers don't like the idea of going over. They get worried about over supplementation, which is very, very rare. But yes, it can happen. So if you're concerned, go see your doctor, get a blood test ordered, and you can look at that vitamin D level.
But in my almost 20 years of practice, every patient that has ever had a vitamin D level tested have all been chronically low, to the point where they have to do some, a lot of supplementation just even to try to get back to normal. So especially, again, this is our climate, our area, so most people, especially where we live, are chronically low in vitamin D.
Absolutely. Okay, and then supplement number 3 is magnesium. So again, we hear a lot about supplementation with calcium, but magnesium is actually the supplement that more people are deficient in. So this is from another medical doctor, Carolyn Dean. She states that the optimal ratio for calcium to magnesium should be 1-to-1, okay, just like our fish oils. The current average ratio in the US is 10-to-1, so 10 calciums for every magnesium. So we're way high on calcium, very low on magnesium. Okay.
So that's why it's one of the essential supplements that people need to try to level that ratio as much as it possibly can.
Correct. And then just as you mentioned that these all work together, like magnesium is essential for the activity of 700 to 800 different enzymes. So these proteins, if you will, that are responsible in your body for digestive processes, for body tissue, for repairing and healing, and so on and so forth, right? So the magnesium is also essential for you to absorb your calcium and your vitamin D.
And where we see it also on a day-to-day basis, a lot of times people have quite a bit of muscle stiffness and soreness, and magnesium is a fantastic way to decrease that stiffness and soreness in the muscles. It helps to relax muscles.
Right. And then the whole understanding of keep going back to sort of the calcium idea, because we've heard so much about them, but you can't actually absorb your calcium, or the calcium cannot build these strong bones like it's supposed to in the absence of magnesium. So you could supplement with calcium all you want, but if you don't have the right levels of magnesium, the calcium is not benefiting you, and it actually might be doing harm because it can be getting laid down in excess inside of your arteries. Okay.
So those are, I guess, if you want to call it the top 3 that would be, let's say, if we want to call it essential, right? What else could people look at or even kind of get some more research into?
Vitamin K. So vitamin K is not very well known. It's generally found in animal sources and plant sources. So there's 2 different kinds of vitamin K. We don't get too sciencey on it, but one is found highly in green leafy vegetables.
And we talk about animal product as well, is we have to understand what kind of animal product. And that's one of the reasons also that sometimes our diet doesn't give us the proper nutrients, is because if we're taking in animal products that are basically on a feedlot, right? They're eating grains, corn, soy, that all cause extra inflammation. So if we then start eating exclusively that kind of meat, we're not getting the proper vitamin K and everything else. So we have to be, I guess, clear on what we're talking about when we're saying animal products. We're talking ideally grass-fed,
free-range animals that are eating their natural forage, that are doing exercise. They're the ones that are going to have the high levels of the vitamin K2 that you need, right? Where vitamin K1 is more of the vitamin K that's found in green leafy vegetables. So green leafy vegetables, you get your K1, high quality K2 from high quality animal products, right? And where the K1 and K2, they're essential because K2 is used by other tissues to place calcium in the bones, right? And keep it out of joints, arteries, and kidneys. So K2 is essential, again, for that calcium metabolism and making sure that calcium goes to the bones and not where it doesn't belong. Okay?
Makes sense.
Let's go talk about glutathione or antioxidants. Okay, so quickly, antioxidants just help the body repair damage from day-to-day wear and tear from everyday living. Okay, and so the 2 that you've probably heard of the most are glutathione and probably resveratrol. So glutathione is known as the master antioxidant, and that one there can be found in things like unnatured whey protein. So good quality, high level, denatured whey protein can have high levels of glutathione, which is the master antioxidant, and help your body's tissues repair.
Okay. Last one.
Resveratrol was the second antioxidant, and then lastly curcumin or turmeric. So that's gaining a ton of popularity. You see it in supplement form. They're basically taking the essential oil, I imagine, out of the plant itself. And curcumin, some people know it as curry powder as well, that yellow powder that you can spread all over your food.
Yeah.
So if you're cooking and you're making dishes, that you can use curcumin, apply it freely, use it. Some protein powders now even have curcumin in them, so you can take them in your morning shakes. But it is a great anti-inflammatory product, right?
Yeah.
It helps your body with decreased whole body inflammation. It's got a number of different health benefits, and research is coming out like crazy, not only about the anti-inflammatory, but it has some pain responses, all kinds of stuff that it's really good for.
Perfect. So I guess if you want to call it as a recap, we went over a few supplements, but one of the things that I would highly recommend is any supplement that you do invest in, make sure it's a good quality product.
Yes.
Because if we go cheap on supplements, with the binding of how they make them will basically not allow your body to properly absorb. So
Correct.
then you're really wasting everything, right?
Yes, yeah.
Your body's not using it. So spend the money to buy a good product so that your body could really use it properly.
Correct, yeah, absorb it. So yeah, and if you're not sure, then same thing. Check in, ask somebody, get in touch with us. We can help you or lead you to find someone that can do that research and find you high quality supplementation to help your body out. And remember, ideally you get this stuff from your diet. So the number one rule goes back to eat the cleanest, healthiest diet possible based on high quality plant foods, high quality animal foods, and you will require less supplementation in your day-to-day life.
So today we talked about good fish oil.
Yes, omega-3s.
Omega-3s.
Yep.
We talked about the vitamin D.
Yes.
And then we talked about magnesium as, let's say, your essential, the top three. Then we also talked about curcumin. We talked about glutathione,
resveratrol, and then vitamin K. Yeah, you got it.
So hopefully that helped you a little bit understand in terms of the role of supplementation and kind of where that would fit into an overall healthy kind of lifestyle. Again, if you have any questions, you can contact us here at Lindenwood's Chiropractic. If not, we'll see you and talk to you on the next Healthy Commute.